Hello, creative friends. I've been trying to figure out what term to use to describe the creative phase that I'm in at the moment. I don't know. Am I in a limbo? Uncertain? Unsatisfactory, maybe? I don't know. I think I'll settle for uncertain for now. I fail to understand why I've been exceedingly questioning every decision I make about the projects that I tackle. I end up casting them aside, and it's not for a lack of inspiration. I get a very clear visualization of the process and even the final outcome of a painting. And yet somehow things don't turn out the way I had envisioned them. I feel like I'm sabotaging myself at every turn, choosing the wrong paper, the wrong order of things that I paint, muddy backgrounds, messy composition, you name it. I am also frustrated with my current filming setup and my equipment. The only thing that somewhat encourages me is my choice of colors. At least there's that. I wonder if it has anything to do with seasonal disorder. It could very well be. Daylight is so short, and I started getting up earlier to see more of it, but I'm not sure if it helps. I also try to go outside as much as I can, but it's not something that comes naturally to me. I like to hibernate in the wintertime. But here we are with a video which almost didn't see the light of day. Last week I was supposed to upload and I didn't because I was in the same predicament as I am tonight, which is Saturday night, a few hours before I'm due to publish this video. I've tried a few things, even different styles. Started with an illustration, something about winter. Then I went into abstract. Then I went into florals. Only to end up with this tiny project. And I hope you won't mind that it's a small project and a very structured one, I want to say. Very detailed, using small brushes. And I turned it into a card, a greeting card. I like the final outcome, so I'm happy with it. It's not really the project that I'm dissatisfied with in this video in particular. It's how I got here. All the anxieties about not being able to produce what I want. Or what I see in my mind. It's not what I want, but definitely what I have seen, throughout the whole week. I've changed my mind so many times too, and that's another point of discontent with me. The other thing also that I think helped in finally having something to show for is the scale in which I paint. This is fairly small, and all the other projects that I started were quite big, on 9 by 12 inch paper. This is a small card, so I don't have the exact measurement, but it's definitely smaller than 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Because I ended up gluing it to a 5 by 7 card base. I think the reason why I went for this kind of project is that it provided a certain structure in my mind. Trying to be as precise as possible, leaving tiny white spaces in between the different elements just proves that I feel like I'm lacking direction, and that structure that I've implemented in this painting is probably a good opinion of how I feel, or not a good opinion, but the way that I'm trying to, I don't know, find a solution to my current state. And this, fortunately, I should say, only applies into my creative practice. My personal life is fine. There's nothing wrong. I'm in good health at the moment. I've finally got over a cold that lasted a few months. Yeah, I think I'm going to chuck it up to the lack of daylight. Anyways, let's get back to the project, because, I could talk long about this state of mind, and I'm convinced that there are many other people like me, especially if you live in the northern hemisphere. But enough about that. There's a few things that I want to point out about this project. It'll be very difficult for me to list all the colors that are involved, just because I ended up using what was left in my mixing wells. And I can tell you, like, the basics. There's definitely shell pink that was used with probably a reddish color. I'm thinking deep scarlet and Titan buff. So if you figure how, you can mix these three colors together, that kind of gave me that coral looking color that I used for the first flower. And then for the one that I'm painting right now, think I introduced rows of ultramarine into that mix. And so there's kind of like 3 rows of petals with each flowers. The first one is the mix that I just talked about. And then I added a bit of brown, so it's probably raw umber, I'm assuming, that I mixed with the main color. And then, so with that, I did the second style of petals, like the in-between petals. And then for the ones that look more like teardrops, I used the same mix that I used for the second petals, but a bit more diluted. So I added water. And so I proceeded with, in the same manner, for the 3 flowers that I'm doing. And I also obviously added gold. I added gold on top of some of those petals. The center. And also to some of the leaves. Now the green for the leaves is the same thing. I used all the greens that I had in my mixing wells, and at some point I added a bit of the raw umber, and other times I used a darker green, a lighter, it's a mix of everything. So I do apologize for not being able to tell you exactly what colors I used. But I do like how it turned out. I think it's delicate. And at the end of it, I felt much more satisfied. And at the moment that I'm recording this voiceover, I'm really trying not to think about my next project, because I think that is also part of my problem. I anticipate a lot, and I also get influenced by what I draw in my sketchbook. And there's such a variety in my sketchbook that from one day to the next, I feel like, oh, maybe my next project should be what my last sketch was about, which is completely different than what I had previously thought. And so it just never ends. I do believe I suffer from ADD, and the older I get, I think the worse it gets. But, you know, this is a self-diagnosis, so who knows? Maybe it's just old age. I don't know, but I kind of always been that way. I think it just gets worse as I'm getting on with age. But there I go with the negative thoughts again. Let's go back. Yes, so going back to the project, I really love the composition. The overall effect is very dainty, and I did feel very zen while I was painting this. So I don't know how to fix what I'm going through right now, and I'm desperately trying not to think about whether this project will resonate with most of you, because that's another element of my uncertainty, right? If you're going to go through the process of creating a video, you want the most people to view it. And if it's something that the majority of my subscribers are not into, it makes me sad. I'm really venting out right now, guys, but I need it. You're my therapist right now. I'm talking to my therapist. But yeah, anywho, it's a fun project. It's something that you shouldn't do in a hurry. So I'm not going to title this, you know, the easiest project I've ever made, or easy, or for beginners, or whatever. It's just something that I needed to do for myself, and that I decided to share with you. I don't have anything else to say. I don't have anything else to say about the project. I just added a few touches at the end. You'll see. It's pretty cool. It's very dainty, very feminine. And I ended up mounting the painting onto a card base with foam adhesive. So it's slightly elevated, which I think is always a nice touch. I think I will leave you with some music. Hopefully you will enjoy this quick video. It's a short one, 23 minutes. Also, if you want to chime in with how you're feeling at the moment, like, you know, when we go through a phase like this, we're always thinking that we're the only people in the world that is in this situation, and I know for a fact that it's not the case. But still, it's always encouraging to know that we're not alone in the situation. There's another element that I haven't touched on that could very well contribute to my uncertainty, and that is what's going on in the world right now. But I didn't want you to think that I forgot about that. However, I don't want to go into any political debate. I don't want this platform to be one of debate and disgruntlement. Yeah, let's just create and have hope. Yeah, a good way to be right now is hopeful, right? Creative. Yeah. All right, I better go. There's not a lot left to show you, but please enjoy the music, and I'll be talking to you soon, hopefully with a different mindset. Yes. All right. Have a good one. Bye.